What's up, guys? Welcome. I am John. I see you guys once again, and I'm sure you noticed that things are a little bit different in my surroundings. As you can see, I upped my production quality, but that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss the medtech and techie role in Cyberpunk. The reason I put those two together is because, well, first of all, the book puts them together, and second of all, they're pretty much the same thing, just a little bit different. So today I'm going to be talking about the significance of the tech or techie role in Cyberpunk 2020, and I'm going to talk about what a tech is. I'm going to talk about examples of techs in the game and how to make your tech interesting. I said tech too many times, but here we go. Now, Cyberpunk really relies heavily on technology, and technology being like this driving force for a lot of the things that you do in the game, much like magic is a driving force for D&D and stuff like that. There's so many things that the tech can be involved in just because of how technology is a big part of Cyberpunk 2020. Now, we keep talking about med tech, techs, and all kinds of stuff like that, but what really is a tech? Let's talk about the brass tacks. They fix and they create. That's what techs do. They fix things that are broken. They create things that are not already there. Whether they're doing it for an opportunistic kind of thing, trying to help the party, or maybe they're just doing it to earn some extra money. There's all kinds of reasons why a tech would create things or fix things. Or you know what? Maybe even break things. Because that's what a tech can do. A tech has knowledge of technology. They're knowledgeable of everything that has to do with technology, like the cost of things, what materials they'll need, and what the significance is of a technology. For example, you'll look at a circuit board and you'll say, yeah, it's just a green circuit board. But a techie will know the significance between them. He'll be able to differentiate where this came from and give your party and the players more information. Consider the tech or the med tech a scholar. Well, the med tech usually is a scholar. Usually they went to school, they went to some kind of medical school, and they're the doctors of the future. They're installing cybernetics either in a back alley or they're working for the trauma team. In general, techies are usually scholars in the technology field, and that's how I think they should be treated in this game. Much like mages are usually considered scholars as well. They're usually considered people that go around reading all kinds of books, old tomes, and gaining knowledge and just being buried in their magic research. And they're that typical recluse. They don't talk to anybody because they're just so hyper focused on what they're doing. And the tech and the med tech, I think, fall in that same kind of category. They're so engrossed in their work that maybe politics, maybe music, maybe anything that doesn't have to do with whatever they're focused on, they might not even think about it. They might not even know what's going on. How many corporate wars has it been? I don't know, but I know that the cost of plastics has gone up since 2022. They're so hyper focused on obtaining knowledge, on gaining knowledge, and finding ways to better their craft. In their eyes, they're journeymen and they're always learning. Now, I'm going to go through a list of some of the examples of techs, and also I'm going to give you guys some suggestions on what a tech really looks like in the context of Cyberpunk. So first of all, doctors are a kind of tech. Obviously, med tech, mechanics, obvious. Those are two very obvious ones. Paramedic, trauma team. We talked about that earlier, and if anybody's seen that Cyberpunk 2077 trailer, they've seen the trauma team in action, and it's awesome. But anyway, that's one of the things they can be. A chemist can be a tech. Once again, it has to do with some kind of science. They're kind of like alchemical. They put things together. They know chemical compounds, and they don't have to necessarily focus on cybernetics and stuff like that. They can focus on chemical compounds, and you're just some weirdo that throws around potions of hydrochloric acid on people. Who knows? A handyman can be a tech. Just a regular handyman, some guy that, he gave you his card once, and anytime you have a problem, he comes by your house and he fixes things. That's a tech. He's a tech. Construction workers, construction engineers, aerospace, electricians, and even software engineers are all techs. These are all different ways that you can these are different lanes for your character. Each one of these things that I mentioned has so many branches of backstory that you can give them, so many reasons why they are the way they are. And it's not just, a screwdriver, a circuit board, and, wires connecting to each other. They're not all, you can't just paint them all with that general big brush. Now let's compare techs by their ability score. So I've done this in my other breakdown videos. If your special ability score is a 1, you're less than a novice, you're entry level, you can't even program a clock. You're just learning, you're green. The only thing you know about the medical field is what you've seen in movies, pressure on the wound and stuff like that. You might not even know that. Band-Aid, that's your extent of medical tech knowledge. A number 5 special ability score is a fairly competent tech in their field. They probably know a thing or two. They can fix things with enough time, with enough research. They know how to find out how to fix things. They're not completely lost. For example, they can, if they've never worked with some kind of technology, they know if they open it up, they might see something that they recognize. And then a level 10 is just an elite tech. They know it all. They're the ones teaching other people about technology. They're the groundbreaking kinds of techs in the world, where they create new technology. They fix things that are otherwise deemed unfixable, but these people come with their miraculous knowledge and creativity, and they're able to fix things that you would never know. Okay, now we wanted to talk about what makes your tech interesting, other than their backstory, or that we've talked about what field they're in, what career path they take. All that stuff is important as well. But what makes your tech interesting as a character? One of the first things that I always like to ask is, why did they want to do it in the first place? Why did they learn in the first place? Was it to better their life? Was it a hobby? Was it a pursuit of knowledge? Where do they stand on it? What made them start getting on the path that they got on? If it's just a hobby, they might be just as good as an expert, but they never really took it seriously. If they thought it was something that would get them out of the situation that they're in, living in the combat zone or scum on the streets, and they decided to take a trade to better their life, that's a totally different story. It's one guy's retired, having a good time fixing things in his garage. The other one is trying to survive. And where does your character lie in that? The other thing that I like to ask is, where did they learn their knowledge? Did they learn at a university? Was it an apprenticeship? Or was it some kind of weird back alley deal? Did they pay a guy that knows another guy that can teach you a thing or two about putting circuits together? Or did they actually go to a full 4-year university? Was it a full scholarship? Did they have to pay out of their pocket? Were they alumni? Or did they just find a job and there was an expert mechanic that taught him everything they know because he needed a helper, and now the helper has become an expert himself? Another question you should be asking yourself is, how much wealth does your character have? Do they even have the tools to do the things that they want to do? Tools cost money, and they don't come cheap, especially when you want to do groundbreaking things like work on cybernetics and stuff like that. If you're a low-born scum that lived in the combat zone, like we've said before, I don't think that you'd really have access to things unless you 5-finger discount them. Did you have an opportunity? Is that where your wealth came from? Did somebody give you an opportunity? Or did you come from a rich family that gave you that opportunity and you seized it and you were able to change your life? Or does it have to do with some kind of reputation? Do people pay you because you've done such a good job in the past and now you've made kind of a business for yourself, and that's where your money comes from? Now, another interesting thing that I like to do for a lot of my characters, we've talked about it in having a solo, have a weakness. You don't necessarily have to have a weakness with your characters, but having something that changes them from being, just a normal everyday NPC to somewhat of a fleshed out character is some kind of nervous tick, some kind of weird quirk about them. So one of the things that, you know, most people like to do is make antisocial characters. Now, the problem with having an antisocial character is they don't communicate with the party, and then you have this party member that's not talking, and they're like, well, I'm just trying to play my character. I don't know what to do. And it's like, okay, I understand, but there are instances where even the most antisocial people are comfortable around certain people. They're comfortable around their family or their closest friends, but in other environments, they lock up. And that could be something that your character does as well. You know, when you're with the party, you're totally cool. When you're with your wife, you're totally cool. But once you guys are in another situation and the pressure's on to be able to talk to somebody and, hey, play it cool, you know, we're here undercover, you fold almost every time. You try your best, but you fold. And that's a quirk that can be very entertaining, to be honest with you, when you're playing, but it also adds a lot of depth to your character. Obsessive compulsive, I mean, that's something that we can all understand. You're a tech, you are obsessed about the little things have to go exactly the way that you want them to go, because there's a method to my madness, and if you mess with that, it messes with my brain. Maybe you have shaky hands. Maybe your quirk is you used to be the best surgeon in Night City, but once you started doing Smash, it ruined your nervous system, and now you got shaky hands. Well, as long as you're on Smash, you're pretty good at your job, but you know, obviously, Night City hospitals don't like their surgeons to be messed up on Smash. But outside of the Night City hospitals and the back alleys, nobody cares if you smash a little Smash. Now, to round this all out, really what I meant to do with this video is to give you guys some kind of ideas to get you excited about making your next tech. Because I understand why people would want to play this solo. Almost everybody understands that. All these like these fringe roles like corporates and rockers, and you know, you might not think that techs are a fringe role, but once people start playing them and they don't really have a direction for them, I've noticed that players get a little bit bored from it and realize, I should have made a solo or a fixer. But I hope that this information gets you guys excited on making the character that isn't just a tech, but the tech part of their life is the most important aspect of them. They're also everything else, you know. They're a person that can shoot a gun, they're a person that has a job, they're a person that has goals, hopes, and dreams. And these are all things that should be important to every character, whether they're solos or not. As long as you structure the way that you think and you take into consideration all the different possibilities of what a tech can be, they can be just as interesting or more interesting than somebody that knows how to shoot a gun really well. So I hope that this helped you guys out. I hope that you guys enjoy this new setup, and I hope you guys enjoy this video as well. Hopefully you'll like, you'll subscribe, you'll share, and you'll be back for the next one. All right, see you guys next time, and thank you so much. Bye.